Project that if you are a home craftsman or builder, a contractor, artist, you're going to love it, because if you've noticed, the thin plywood that's used for underlayment of linoleum and tile has changed. And it's no longer the soft 1/8 or 1/16 inch lawn that can be cut with a knife, but it's birch, and it's very hard, and sometimes it's more than a 1/16 inch, it's like a 1/4 inch, and it cannot be cut except with a circular saw, and that is a dirty, difficult job since the saw can bind and catch. But if you're doing production work, and that means doing subdivisions or in art, it would be doing major cubic constructions or hundreds of pieces that can be painted upon. If you're doing this kind of work, you're going to want one of these machines. And it's going to be pretty cheap, because we're going to use our 3/4 inch and 1/2 inch reversible drills to power it. So let's take a look. We really only have 3 pictures here, 3 diagrams, and the rest I think you can imagine. Now, our first diagram simply shows the threaded 1-inch threaded rod, which is at the heart, which is the propulsion unit. And when this is turned by the hexagonal fitting made to fit a 1/2 inch drill at the end, the nut which rides on it and is kept from spinning by flats, top, side, and bottom, moves down the threaded rod, okay, inside the channel iron. We've shown this first schematic with angle iron, but that's just for simplicity's sake. It will need channel iron, which means another lands on top, a third lands over at the top. And also brazed to this nut, because brazing makes a thick and very hard, much stronger and tougher joint, is a pin, a hardened steel pin, which carries the hardened iron roller cutter. And these are all everything that's part of this design. It is already available on the market. These roller cutters are pretty cheap. They are sold by Rigid and others for their black pipe and their heavy pipe cutters. So they're ready to go. So as you can see, it rolls down, and now pressure is applied at 2 points, at the front and the back, downward pressure. And you can see the turn screw or turnbuckle assembly on the front on this first picture. And basically all it is a piece of pipe welded to the back of the channel iron and a screw rod through it to the cutter bed, and then you just let the arm down on the plywood and then screw it tight onto the plywood until you have the pressure you need. You don't want pressure so that it just cuts right back down into the iron. You want pressure so that it cuts almost to the iron, so the cutter head is protected from being dulled. It stays sharp longer because wood can't dull it. And at the rear, we have another assembly, spring-loaded, consisting of two pipes, one fitting inside the other, and a threaded rod at the center, and a spring over top of the threaded rod that goes into the bottom larger pipe, and then the top pipe goes down and presses against the spring, fits against the spring neatly, and then the nut pulls that whole assembly down and gives it tension. And then you just use the turnbuckle again and tighten that nut down on it until you have the pressure you need. Once you tighten it once, because it's a hinge there, once you gauge it once on the first sheet of plywood, you won't have to adjust it. In fact, I may put a second nut there on it so that you can tighten the two nuts together and it won't move until at all, and there'll be no way for it to move. So that's our project. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, the welding should be done in a welder's shop. And there's everything there I can drop off in the welder's shop without even driving. I'm nearby to Trenton, and there's a couple of welder's shops I know of, at least one anyway, and they would do the job work. And this would just be a few dollars. And there's also iron mongers or iron warehouses in Trenton, so I could get the correct pieces. So basically, all I need to do, and I could, if I did a 4-foot bottle, I could carry everything back on the bus, so there would be no problem. And also, the table could be done partly with wood. Really, the only iron piece on the table, the work table, needs to be the cutter bed. In fact, even that doesn't need to be iron, but there should be an iron strip on it, really. So we have that. So I can get everything. So all we need is a room to set this up in and be undisturbed and not robbed or vandalized or anything like that. And then just do the work and have it on eBay, and then make them really one at a time as people order them when they see. And also there will be a question that the actual output of the machine will be valuable. So if we set up in a room, we could start making shapes and pieces for art groups. And these could be cubes and triangles and pyramids and things that kids could glue together and then paint. And this would be a wonderful thing because they could be hung, and if they were big enough, they could be glued together and made into sculptures. So it's a huge fun thing. And the plywood itself, birch plywood, is not expensive as plywood goes. So that's the project. And this is the first time I've put my face on one of these drawings and given my little speech. So let's see if this works out. To get a little backing, anything you want to give would be great. If you wanted to be part of a arts council that was investing in this to get wooden shapes back, that would be great too. You can't expect it overnight though. It'll be a few months. But once I get going, there should be no problem in supplying the needs for various art groups and schools. And of course, everything will be deducted. So if you give $20 or $50 now in fundraiser, or it doesn't have to be fundraiser, you can use wallet, Google Wallet. I'm going to enable Google Wallet or PayPal. But whatever you give, I'll deduct. I will definitely keep a page for you, and you'll be able to go to that page anytime, a wiki page, and I will deduct what you give me from any order that you make, and there'll be savings as well, in consideration of your having advanced the money. And we can consider that as substantial savings. I'm not sure what the final costs are, but there will be substantial savings. So let's give this a shot, and hopefully we'll start a new industry for artists and help floor pavers and people who use 1/4 and 1/8 inch birch plywood everywhere around the world, and apparently that is the plywood now of the future because of its source in Siberia. It's virtually unlimited source in Siberia and Northern Europe. Thank you, and good luck, and thank you for watching.